Miami. You're listening to WVUM 90.5 FM, the voice of the University of Miami. And you're tuned into Code 305 with your host, yours truly, Octavio Rios. I have this nice soothing music playing in the background so you can get in the mood for this late night talk show that I have. It pretty much highlights people in the community that are doing things very special, whether it be artistic, business-like, culture. I bring them onto the show. People that are in your communities doing things that are either inspiring or just contributing to the overall niche that you are surrounded in. And basically we just go into depth about culture appreciation, people's occupation that I bring onto the show. And as a last little thing, we go ahead and talk about Miami. I have the pleasure of having Confidence in the studio this week on this episode of Code 305. They are a South Florida grown clothing apparel that is made for those who live with their eyes on the prize, those who never give up. It is for those who are constantly driven to be the very best at what they do and are willing to do the work in order to get the fruits of their labor. Confident, I want you guys to introduce yourself. It's a 3-member band right now in the group in the studio, so I want you guys to just introduce yourselves, your names, and pretty much where you're from and what you're doing. You can even say you're in the University of Miami because I know you guys are students, so go ahead and take advantage of that.
Yo, Viraj Kohari here from Pepper Pines, Florida. I'm a senior actually at the University of Miami, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
What's up, guys? My name is Javi. I'm a junior at the University of Miami, trying to make some moves so I can graduate a year early. So I'll give myself a senior title right now. Basically born and raised in Miami, Cuban background.
Yo, what's up? My name is Brian Rodriguez from Miramar, Florida. Upcoming senior. Looking forward to big things to come. Born and raised in Miami.
Excellent. So boys, I want you just to get into I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this tonight. I want you guys just to pretty much begin with where you guys got this idea to even call it the clothing brand Confident, and just what came up with the idea to make it manifest into what it is today.
All right, so basically the origin of the brand, we're looking at, what was it, like early January 2017?
2017, yeah.
My boy Viraj here, my business partner, he comes and he's always like this very talkative, very extroverted, optimistic person, very motivational. You definitely go to him when you're down, and when you got something in doubt, you definitely go to him. So like when he's like down, I'm like, whoa, what's that? But he's barely ever down. So like he's the positive one in the group for sure. I mean, we all try to keep positive. So then in January we're sitting like in a nice little group in University of Miami between classes around lunchtime, and he just throws in an idea of just do you guys think there's like any like success in like the clothing industry and things like that? It wasn't directed at anybody, but I analyzed the situation, but I didn't give a response initially.
He said nothing.
I said nothing.
He said nothing.
Basically, I was like, you see, a wise man would say nothing.
Alright.
Shout out to Drake real quick.
Everybody else was like laughing there, like, haha, do it, bro. Like, make a clothing brand, do it. And I said the idea, like, I wanted to do it around Confidence, and everybody was like, just laughed it off. And I don't exactly remember, but I remember he was sitting right next to me. He didn't say anything. And like fast forward a few days, and it's like Sunday, like midday, like when you're doing nothing, you're probably watching TV, flipping through channels or whatever. I get a text from Javi, and he's like, yo, do you think there's any actual real like money in clothing? And I'm like, bro, if we do it right, anything is possible. And immediately as soon as I said that, I'm gonna let you tell him the rest of the story. But he hit me with like 3 pictures of 3 designs he'd been working on. I was like, damn, like this is somebody I need on my team because he's a hustler. He already like the one thing that I needed was to take action. Was he already did it. And I hadn't taken any action to it. It was still a thought. So I was like, I need him on my team. And the rest is history.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it was a Sunday evening around like 6 o'clock. I was on Instagram doing homework, and I went into this. I ran into this like clothing brand that came up like sponsored on my page, and I was like, bro, like we could come up with like some dope designs. We could come up with like dope scenery, dope aesthetic that could give like a whole meaning behind the brand. Mm-hmm. I like to think confidence because I think that's something that's very pivotal in society nowadays. I feel like what you become in life is all due to what you tell yourself that you can become. Like the way you have to manifest your own destiny. As long as you have that confidence and that self-belief from within, I think you can accomplish whatever. So knowing that me and Viraj, we were very confident individuals, when I saw this clothing brand, I guess it sparked up, it brought me back to that when we were talking and when Viraj brought up the idea. So then I was like, I shot him that text, and as soon as he was like, yeah, bro, I think if we do it right, I think we can. So I was like, all right, so like what do we do to like start this off? Like, all right, let's just start drawing things up, see if like get the ball rolling. You get me? Like, the hardest thing in my opinion is anything entrepreneurial,
Just
anything taking that first step. Once you take that first step, like, you gotta walk, you gotta crawl, you gotta.
Why is it important to be able to take that first step?
I mean, there's this Gary Vee quote that's like, all these ideas are nothing until like you act on it. Like, I have a bunch of ideas up here right now, but like, they're literally worthless.
Yeah.
They're not gonna become anything until I put action into it.
Of course.
Usually the hardest part is taking the first step because you have to get over that mental barrier that you can do it. Usually there's a lot of doubts in the beginning stages of anything, like whatever you want to do. You're going to have a lot of doubts that are like, can I really do this? What are so-and-so going to think of me? Because initially when you start something, there's going to be the people that are going to laugh you off. And in this case, me and him, I can speak for both of us when I say we've had certain individuals that were like, you know, like when we started, and I'm fast forwarding a little bit and we'll backtrack, but a lot of people that hit us up and like, I don't really know what this says. You guys should probably change the name. It's not really like user friendly. People are not going to understand what it is. Is it an acronym? What we really did was we just took the vowels out of confident, and it was CNFDNT. And the rest, you know, people like the people that understood it. The people that didn't. But there were a lot of people in our social circles that were like, I don't really know, you know, what this says or whatever. And you should probably change it. And you know, we decided to stick with it and trust what we started, and you know, we kept it going from there.
Yeah, so when I started drawing up those designs, I was like, all right, let's keep like a Miami vibe. I'm like very Miami-ish, so I was like, all right, threw some flamingos in there. I threw some palm trees, some dolphins, all that Miami Beach vibes. So I threw it in, and I was like, all right, like I think this is definitely a route, and we've stayed pretty much true to that, especially with the Miami Vice colorway. Like we like the whole vibe, and we feel like we want to like parallel our city. And like right now, we're growing like within the community and things like that, and then hopefully when it happens, when we blow up, like we're gonna take our city with us. You get me? And like we're gonna go global. Like let's put it out in the atmosphere right now, but like everybody's gonna know like it originated in Miami.
Another important piece of that is the designs that he sent me were the designs we scrapped. Like those designs were not even compared to what we ended up putting out, and what we put out and what we're doing now is complete. So it's progression. Like initially we just had to get over the first step of actually putting a design on the screen to see what it would look like, and after that it was like just seeing which one's good enough to actually put on a shirt. And usually those designs, the first designs we scrapped, they weren't they weren't terrible, but you know we weren't proud of it as both of us, because you know we want to put out as close to perfect as we can get. Nothing's ever perfect, but we want to put out the highest quality that we can put out as people, because that's what we represent. That's the standards that we hold in our own life. So
as far as representation, I want to read 2 quotes that you guys have on your website. If you go to confident.com. One says, where be live.
Where we live.
Yeah.
We live. Correction. Fashion is the second phrase. Fashion is worn, our brand is lived. Can you explain in depth what you guys meant with those 2 things, given the fact that you're trying to capture something with the Miami vibe?
I mean, the thing that we really meant with that, it was after the initial reaction was putting this brand out, and the sort of aesthetic that we had on our IG was very confident based. So it was like posting with nice cars, you know, showing that confident lifestyle. We're showing a person that has a certain level of swag. And we put that out, and that in turn led to people coming up to us and being like, yo, I wore your shirt to my test. I wore your shirt to my MCAT, you know, because they felt like that shirt represented the feeling that they should have going into this exam or going into this challenging point in their life. And that's what that created that slang, like fashion is worn, but our brand is lived, because we genuinely feel like confidence is lived. And if we can somehow connect the 2 with our clothing, we'll have done what we originally came here to do.
As artists, you're trying to project that kind of message out to people that wear your brand. When you do see people accomplish that and they really understand, like you mentioned earlier, some people don't get it, but for those that do understand it, how do you guys feel about that? Does that motivate you even more to be like, you know what, maybe we're not the only ones trying to put out a certain picture? People understand it. It's not distorted to others.
Definitely, bro. Like when people can relate to our message and when people feel one with our message, I feel like at the end of the day, like when we were like that, where we live, that's like our slogan. Like because we feel like everything, like think about like Nike, like just do it. You get me? Like that's 1-on-1. So like confident. All right. So like what do we want? Because like some people will have hard times knowing like the name of it. You get me? Like, oh, is it an acronym? All this stuff. We talk about the vowels. All right, but like when you put where we live to it, like wear confident, wear the clothing. Be confident within yourself, and live confident. So that goes back to the second quote you said, that fashion is worn, our brand is lived. Because it's not just a piece of fabric that you're putting on your body. You know what I mean? Like right now I'm wearing a confident hoodie.
Of course.
But like that could be anybody. They could just get a Sharpie and write confident on it. You could even add the vowels, but like, you get me?
Yeah.
But like to me, like right now I'm wearing the Bad Bunny hoodie. Like when I look down and I'm like, the story behind it, how it started off with an idea, how like we had to figure out how to get it in his hands. You get me? And that's not just with this Bad Bunny piece, but like with every single piece that we've made, from something as simple as a palm tree. You get me? Like that first text message that V sent me, or I sent him, or our boys sent, Brian sent us, Stavros sent us, my brother sent us, like yo, I think you guys should throw this in. You get me? And then like how that, we basically got that and we ran with it, and it just became something far more than just the design of a shirt.
Right.
So when people are like the MCAT example, and it goes back to what you just asked us, when people are like, yo, like I'm wearing this shirt because I'm taking this MCAT right now, I've been studying for 6 months, and when I'm stuck in the exam, like I want to look down and read the word confident, and not just be like, okay, like yeah, it makes sense right now, like that's how I should be, but be like this is what I work for, like this is what I came for, like the story behind it. You get me? So that's where I think we have not really a head start on other brands, something like that. I feel like I wish everybody liked the best. You get me? Like I'm rooting for everyone in this, because there's enough paper for everybody to succeed in life. You get me? It's not about that. It's about like it's not the destination. It's the journey. You get me? And right now we're enjoying it, and we want to make it as memorable as possible. You get me? So when people like it's just the meaning behind the brand. Like you have to just be one with.
We have one of our closest friends here, Brian. He was an integral part of like the brand, and as it was coming up, we kept going back to him for advice. He was one of the few people that knew. I think I could count on one hand about the people that knew that it was going to happen, and he was one of them. And he can attest to that. He's been he's supported us 100%. Whatever we've had, he's thrown it out there. So I mean, he could tell us a little bit more about like what he feels as not as an outsider, but somebody who's outside of the brand who is like promoting it for us. And he doesn't have to do it because he's our boy. He does it because he truly supports the brand. So I mean, B, if you have anything to add to that.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. You guys brought up that MCAT story. I don't know if it's intentionally. I actually wore that Bad Bunny hoodie when I took my MCAT. So they're not making that up. You know, it does bring across a reminder. You know, like, to believe in yourself. Like, of course, like, I go in, I studied, I worked hard, I put time in, so I believe in myself. But, you know, like wearing the brand, like knowing what it means, like knowing who it came from, like my friends created it. It just gives you that extra security. You're like, you're right. I'm the man. I got this.
Right.
I'm gonna push through and do this right.
What I like about you guys is that you do try to represent the word confidence and just pretty much try to get people on board with that. The fact that you guys are from Miami, do you feel like it's a lot easier for you to go ahead and show that off because that's what your environment pretty much entailed of? Or do you think that, man, if had it not been for the fact that we come out of Miami, maybe you wouldn't have the swag that it has? Or you just have that picture in mind already of what Miami is? Do you think that what really facilitated the process of trying to come up with some of the images you guys put on your shirts?
I think it's definitely easier than if we were born in like South Dakota and we didn't have anything to look up to. Like personally speaking, when I was born in Pembroke Pines, born and raised, I've lived there my entire life. For me, Miami, the influence came from when I came to college here at the University of Miami, and I've always looked at Miami as that city for me. Like even though I'm 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away from the actual city, I've looked at it like that's the end goal. Like if I want a house on the water, it's gonna be in Miami. If I want like an office space, it's going to be in Miami, because Miami's it represents a certain lifestyle that's you see in movies and stuff, and you're like, yo, I like that. And it benefits us because it's only 25, 30 minutes away. And I mean, Javi can go more into it because he's lived here his whole life. But that's really where we can sort of play around with, eccentric colors or go a little bit edgier, because Miami is really edgy and it's really youth-based. And we want to really portray, and it's really art-based nowadays with Wynwood and all these different places in Miami. So we really wanted to put that stuff into our work and into our pieces of art, which is our clothing. And we don't want it to just be, we sell T-shirts. We want it to be more than that. Like anybody can put, like a water bottle on a T-shirt and be like, Bottles, the company, and they can try and brand it out. But we really want to brand our company a certain way that it separates itself just by the name. Because when somebody is confident, they're like, I can associate myself to that. I want to feel more confident. I want to do this. So like it's a lot easier doing it in Miami because you're around people that want the same thing as you, and they're looking at it and it fits really, like it fits into society easily,
right,
as opposed to being something completely different. If we did something like this, and like going back to my earlier example, South Dakota, people might not resonate with it as well.
Dang,
So,
but if we were from South Dakota, just throw Mount Rushmore on there. I like that bottles I do on the Sonic confident. We're just gonna do something wrong with it. But yeah, Miami, like you said, Wynwood, artsy, it just helped us a lot because we have it in our backyard. Like when people think of Miami, they think of like nightlife, all these things. So when you throw a palm tree, and then they see Miami on the established MIA on the tag, like people are like, oh, why these people just throw around the palm tree? Like it just brings so much connotation
Right.
to you,
Of course.
connotation to it. Because like Miami, as like the city itself created a meaning, so we're using that meaning that's been created over the decades of just that Miami swag, and like
Right.
the minute we put that MIA, Welcome to Confident Miami on it, and we throw palm trees and dolphins and all those things, like people already are like 1 + 1 + 1, bro.
Right.
They
'Cause
can
they
add so
associate-
much up.
They associate the history of the city from what
Exactly.
they've seen in shows. and
Talk
stuff
a little
like
bit
that.
about your like you when you were brought up, like the confidence that came from you just being in Miami.
All right, so I'm 20 right now, and out of those 20 years, I've lived 17 in Miami. So at age 5, I had to move for my mom's medical residency. So before she became a doctor, she had to get 3 years of residency. So the closest she could get from home was Jacksonville. So Jacksonville is like a 5-hour drive. It's like at the tip of like the Florida, Georgia. So I went there from ages 5 through 8. Bro, culture shock.
Mhm.
And you're literally in Florida, like you're 5 hours away. Like that's like saying Orlando, basically.
Right, of
You get
course.
me? But like Miami is just a different world
Right.
completely. It's
Of
not a
course.
part of the United States, in my opinion. Like mentally, it's not. Like
It's very different, I
It's-
think, compared to anything.
it's
Right.
so different.
I've
So
been
like,
to LA, New York,
Right.
it's completely.
I want to get into that a little bit more later into the show,
Yeah.
but I want you guys to talk about, you just mentioned Miami has all this history, X, Y, and Z. Right now, we're currently, I feel, there's a new wave amongst us as far as artistry, what we're seeing in Wynwood, right?
definitely.
So you guys try to shape that onto your clothing. Do you guys really feel like, you know what, we are the new wave of entrepreneurs. We are the new wave of the art that you're seeing. Because if you take a look at your stuff, it's kind of like the aesthetic of what we're used to seeing in the new wave and kind of stuff like that. Is it okay? Is it safe for someone if they wanted to approach you and be like, hey, listen, I think your clothing brand is the new wave? Would you guys feel comfortable with that, or would you question it?
I'd question it because I know we have so much more potential to tap into. But like I see where we're going. We're just a year in, like 2 months in. Like I know our designs, like I know like what they mean and like how aesthetic they are and how artsy they are. But like Wynwood, like when I think artsy Miami, I think like Wynwood, like Art Basel, like that. And like we're working on a new project now that has that artsy vibe to it. So like in 3 months you could ask me the same question and I might give you a completely different answer.
Right, fair enough.
Because like we're just playing around with stuff right now, and like we've asked like our close circles and we've extended that a little bit, and the feedback we're getting on these new results are like
Tremendous, right?
tremendous.
Of
So like before they were just designs on a shirt, but now it's just so much more, and like it's tapping into that completely new artistry vibe. So like I feel like we're among the new like artist wave. Like we're reaching out to that, but we're not holding on to it completely. Like we're not fully into that circle. We're flirting with it. We're like stepping into it. But we're gonna jump into it more as time goes because now we're familiar with the industry. Now we know like the ins and outs of it. We're gonna keep learning. This is a daily thing, obviously. But like we're more exposed, so now we can play around with things more. Now we can do our part, which is why we started, which was like the whole creative aspect, not the whole business, which is like the marketing, the advertisement, the promotional material, like the bank accounts, all these things. You get me, that tie into it, the contracts with manufacturers.
Which I think separates us from other artists that are coming up also, is because speaking from both of us, we have a strong business side to our artistry as well. So there's a lot of artists that, they focus solely on their art, but they don't know how to get their stuff out there. And people are like, damn, that stuff's amazing. Why haven't I seen you anywhere? It's because either they're lacking on the business side or they're not able to promote their stuff really well or something along. I think one reason why we have an advantage is because we truly are using the new tools available to us, including social media, including word of mouth, and including like our art in there, like the way we take pictures, the aesthetic, the creativity, and how we do our shots, how we want to get it done, and us using it in a feasible way, like not overextending a lot of cash to create a cool picture. Like we do it really smart, and we create the best possible outcome that we can for the result that we're looking for. So in that space, I'm saying like as artists and businessmen, if you combine that, like we have a different advantage than most other artists out there because they're not looking at it from the business side of things. They're just looking at it from putting out their art.
Right.
And with us looking at it from the business side of things and marketing and stuff like that, I feel like it'll separate us in the long run of how we're going about it.
The power of broke.
Of course. Okay, you guys mentioned various times already throughout the show, you have those support groups that are closest to you. Can you talk about how you guys even come up with concepts then? Do you guys go to these same groups all the time, or do you just put out new content a couple times just to see what the public thinks, people that have been following you? Just pretty much talk about how do you guys come up with the ideas that you do on your hoodies and all the apparel that you guys sell?
So usually, like, the funny thing is we have a lot of spontaneous ideas. So like March 5th was, I want to say 3 or 4 days away. And March 5th, it's 3:05, so that's Miami Day. And literally, Javi walked in one day. I was at his house. We were gonna go do some stuff for figuring out places where we can do pop-up shops. He walked in. He's like, "Yo, let's do a Domino shirt with 305 on it." And I'm like, "Brilliant!" And you know, we made it like 305 with the dominoes, and it works in a way that when you're playing dominoes, it works out like however you do it. And we were deciding to sell it for $3.05. So initially, we had the idea that Saturday, and I think the day was like Tuesday. And that day we put like he put it on a little template of a shirt. He put it out on social media, and we made a poll. That was like, "You mess with this design? You guys like it?" And I shot it to all my friends, and I shot it to like my close circle. My sister's a big influence on certain designs and stuff that we do because she's an artist. She's into the fashion thing. So like she's the first person that I go to aside from all my friends and family. Like she's like, tell me if this is artsy or not. And so I went to her, and she was like, "Yeah, it's cool." We didn't exactly get the reaction that we wanted, but when we decided to sell it, it took off. Like for all of a sudden, like 305, the dominoes, and then on the bottom was "To My City." So it was like a Drake lyric, and then and mixing in 305 day with 305. And we sold it for $3.05, which was for us, it was it was brilliant on the spot marketing, and nobody else did that. Like I know another company did like 30.5% off, so it looked like 305, but it wasn't $3.05, which got our sales like through the roof.
Right. Do you feel like that's a little bit of the authenticity that you guys try to portray in your clothing, like the way you advertise it?
100%.
Yeah, like the approach we take, like everything is just so spontaneous, and like it's whether it's a poll on Instagram, like we run like every week, something like that, based on the feedback. Sometimes we don't even like it's a good it's nice to know like that you have that when you launch the poll, like a lot of people agreed with it, but that same 305 one that we're looking at right now on that screen, like it was like 60-40, like
could have gone either way. Like we could have scrapped
like with 60-40, like people are like, all right, let's not run with it. You get me? Like that's like half basically.
Yeah.
But when we put up the pre-orders like for $3.05, it's just like the way that we just went about like taking it out, putting it out there. I think everybody that day was just like, yo, $3.05, like sure. I as well save buying a soda from the vending machine.
Yeah.
I'll be a little thirsty today, but like I got a new shirt. You get me? And like that's probably
another thing with the polls, like it's a good tell of what works and what doesn't work, but a lot of times it doesn't tell you whether people are actually going to buy. So we've had a lot of times where it's 80-20, and it's just been sitting on the shelf, like nobody has been really looking for it, and then we've had things that are like the 305 shirt was a 60-40, could have gone either way, and it's taking off. People are buying 11, 12 at a time because they're so cheap, and it just, some things work, some things don't work. You really have to like gauge it on your gut instinct. Like for us, it was like we have to put this out because it just works. Too many things are going right for it to be wrong, so we play it by ear a lot of times, and it works out.
The way I see it mentally, like I have like these 3 A's in my head. I have like awareness, acceptance, and action. So like when I create like a template, all right, and I put it out to the world, like everybody's aware of it. But now like the 60 and the 40, like that just shows me a sense of acceptance, like who likes it, who doesn't. But now the last one, action, like that's the hardest one. Like everybody that voted on that, I guarantee you probably 10% of the people bought it. Not even, like that's being generous.
Yeah.
So like getting people to act on it, that's not just like the shirt. The shirt doesn't give you that. It's the approach. Like when we drop like the artist collaborations, like if we just be like, oh, buy this, like yeah, it's for this artist, like no, but like the minute we drop it with a picture of the artist and like a video of like us giving it to the artist and like the story behind it.
So you feel that because you guys approach it that way, it gives it even that much more swag.
Yeah,
in other words,
meaning.
Your artistic flow is still present in that moment when you're able to do such things like that.
Yeah, of course. Like going back to, I think was it the Ozuna? We had like an Ozuna collaboration. Some guy from Phoenix hit us up. He's like, bro, like I really want like this Ozuna one. Do you guys still have it? I'm like, yeah, we still have the size. It wasn't a size, whatever. He ended up buying it. But he's like, I'll buy it only if you guys send me the picture of him wearing it. You get me? So like,
right.
We offered that to him, and he was like, "What? This just has so much more meaning."
Right, of course.
So what other brands gonna offer that? I'm pretty sure there's other ones that are gonna do that, but like the fact that we just add more of like it's more personal. Like I said, it's not just the design, it's not just the name of it, it's the way we go about doing it, like the process. Even though we do polls and stuff like that, a lot of our big projects, like we have like a phrase within us, like move in silence. Like when I tell you like our circle, like you probably think like, what I'm talking about, like a handful of people, because like we're like the type that we want that the minute it goes out to the public and it's something serious that we want to do, the minute it goes out to the public, it's already been a success in our heads.
Right.
The minute we reveal all our celebrity collaborations, all our all our like just our journeys where we're just doing things that like we know are special. Like we know the minute we drop it on social media, like we're gonna get a lot of text messages, a lot of phone calls. Like damn.
That was crazy. Yeah.
We know the minute we do that, like it's a wrap for us. You get me? Like we did what we needed to do. All right, now let's just show the world. You get me? And like now let's do the business part of it and let's try and sell.
I mean, for example, like we had the Bad Bunny hoodie we created just recently, and we had the thing the picture and everything had already been executed, and we were waiting on the professionally edited picture from Bad Bunny's guy, photographer, and we were waiting, and he hadn't sent it to us because obviously they're touring, they're busy, they have conflicts with time and stuff like that. So we hadn't gotten it in a while, and we were getting antsy because we're like, yo, this is gonna pass, like people aren't gonna be as hyped. But then we're like, nobody else knows but us that the hype is gonna pass. Like nobody else knows that this really happened. So when we do drop it, for them it's gonna be fresh. For us, it was already weeks old. So it was like a little battle between us because we know, and people that don't know, which is majority of everybody else. I mean, ask B, like B, weren't you surprised when we dropped that? I don't even think you knew that that was coming.
Like you guys had told me that you were like trying to do something with him. I was like, yo, I hope they get it. It's gonna be dope if they finally, connect with him. I feel like they have like the drive to do it, but getting to that guy isn't easy. We all love Bad Bunny, but I can't just be like, yo, I'm gonna walk up to Bad Bunny tomorrow and get him a hoodie. He's gonna like it.
Of course.
And then there's also the risk, that you pull up, show him the hoodie, and he doesn't like it.
Of course.
It's a flop. But that just goes back to the whole, what's the brand? It's confident.
Right, of course.
Confident.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna take a quick break right now. We're getting really good. I actually want you guys, when we come back from the break, to give us more details about some of the celebrities that you guys have been able to collaborate with, and just give us an insight of how that was even able to happen. I know you guys gave us a little bit of a sneak peek, but when we do come back, for all you guys listening, we have a little treat for you. We have a cool story. It involves Bad Bunny, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I said, El Conejo Malo. So make sure you keep it locked to The Voice. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.